It was the summer of 2001. I remember being 4 years old and laying on the bed beside my mother, soaking in the heat of Mumbai, India, with much maturity and patience. Our apartment didn't have an air conditioner back in the day. I was visibly uncomfortable, but not due to the heat. "What happened, son?" asked my mother, turning her face away from the fashion magazine she had been reading. "I have a headache," I said in my kiddish and unbroken voice. My mother to this day claims that was the sweetest I've complained of a discomfort. My mother placed her magazine down on the side table and rubbed my head with her loving caress. It was a lot like medicine because it seemed to work. Within 2 minutes, the headache had disappeared. "Are you feeling okay now?" she asked with her hand placed on my forehead. I was getting warm for some reason, but I did not feel feverish. The words that escaped my mouth still shake my mother to this day. "Grandpa will die next month," I said, as casually as an infant takes their ABCs. I did not realize the gravity of what I had said until the day it happened. My paternal grandpa passed exactly a month later due to a heart attack. We flew to Kolkata, we are a Bengali family, where my parents helped with the services, while I lodged at my cousin sister's house, so I wasn't left alone. It was a therapeutic time, for my cousin helped me forget what death was by keeping me engaged with board games. Little did I know, we were to shift to Kolkata soon. My father had been transferred to a better job with better pay, and we were to shift into a huge house, which was at the end stages of furnishing. During that period of time, my parents and I lived at my father's childhood home, a huge 3-bedroom apartment about the size of an entire corridor. The place had a huge balcony where I'd spend most of my evenings just sitting and staring at the people walking by. It was so serene because I loved to be left alone with my own thoughts. One morning, I climbed onto my uncle's arm. He had been watching the news on TV. I don't remember what the reporter was saying, but I remember looking at that person and saying, "He is my brother." My uncle laughed, thinking it was my imagination at play. I didn't, because for some reason he bore a striking resemblance to someone I knew. "What is his name?" my uncle asked, chuckling as he did. "Abhijit Dutta," I said, without thinking twice. "He's my brother from Bangladesh." My uncle laughed some more. His amusement confused me. He would tease me every other day during my stay there, shouting my name to call me whenever Abhijit Dutta presented the morning news. I'd come running to see my long-lost brother on TV diligently every time. My eyes were glued to the TV as long as he was on screen. As I grew older, changed schools, made new friends, girlfriends, had my heart broken, mended, and broken yet again, I forgot about what I used to say. My uncle stopped teasing me after a while and started bombarding me with questions like, "What are your plans for post-graduation? Have you thought about giving writing a try? You have a wonderful imagination." I answered them diligently and as shortly as I could, being a socially awkward 20-year-old. A few days ago, my mother had a few guests over to our house for a Bengali New Year dinner on April 15th. I had taken my food on a plate and was right in front of the TV watching an IPL match between Chennai Super Kings and Kings 11 Punjab. Let me chip in to say that I have sharp ears given I listen to loud music daily. I quietly lowered the volume on the TV and heard my mom whispering to the guests a good 5 feet away from me. When Mojo Jojo 369 was around 4 years old, he would constantly tell his uncle and me that his Bangladeshi brother would appear on TV instead of lurking around at the train tracks. Train tracks, I thought. I don't remember talking about train tracks. My mother continued, "At first I thought it was his overactive imagination at play, but I decided to ask my mother-in-law. She didn't find it funny. She told me that during the early 1940s, there was a man from Dhaka, Bangladesh, who would spend a lot of time near the train tracks until one day he committed suicide by jumping in front of a running train. The little tale managed to chill my bones, but I didn't show it outwardly because I didn't want people to think I was eavesdropping on their conversation. My mother didn't stop. She also told me, my mother said, referring to my paternal grandma, that my father's side of the family was from Dhaka, Bangladesh, and there was a man named Abhijit Dutta in our family who had committed suicide along the train tracks of Dhaka. He left a younger brother who went looking for him in the train lines, but couldn't find him. The younger brother grew up missing his brother and ended his life in the same manner. That night, one of my most burning questions was answered. Why am I so afraid of train rides and sounds?